Hello there, and welcome to Fine Art Fridays. This is Connie Johnson, and I am here with another edition of Fine Art Friday. This is just me musing with some of my favorite, not local artists, but some of my favorite artists, period. And I am excited to have with me today Ms. Amtul Badi. She is an amazing, amazing visual artist. And I'm doing all of this because I know she's going to be really modest about herself and her work. So she is an amazing artist. She is absolutely one of my very favorites out of Columbia, South Carolina. And so without a further ado, let's go ahead and introduce to you Ms. Amtul Badi. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, hi. I'm so thankful that you invited me and thank you for the kind words. Well, my name is Amtul Badi. Of course, I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I'm in the South now. Uh, as a child, I really enjoyed art, and one of my first love actually was a camera. My uncle was a photographer, and I just loved watching people, and I think I love capturing whatever I could. Whatever I saw in my eye view, I wanted to be able to record that in some way so I could share it with other people.
Mm, mm. So talk to us a little bit about like your background. So you mentioned as a child you enjoyed watching people. How did you get from watching people to photography to painting and drawing? How does that happen?
Well, actually, I think my painting skills was mostly developed in school.
Okay.
Elementary school, it was just some way that I was able to express myself. And I had teachers that would always compliment me on it. It was something that I felt very secure in. So from just taking pictures in the neighborhood to getting recognized in school with my art was
Mhm.
the way that I kind of developed that. It's something that really stuck with me.
Nice. So let's just go ahead and jump into some of your pieces. Like I have favorites. We've discussed that. So I'm going to let's talk a little bit about some of my favorite pieces. So this is one that I absolutely love. Can you see that?
Yes, I
Good.
can. I can.
Awesome. So this is one of my favorite. Can you tell me a little bit about this drawing?
Okay, this is a drawing that I did when my three younger sons, they are of my three younger sons, and this is the media I used for this was pencil.
Okay.
I love the feel of pencil and being able to, use my fingers to get the shadowing and all of that. So it came from a picture. I took a picture originally, and then
Okay.
I freehand drew it from a picture, and in that particular book, as they was reading in the bed one night, I just made up my own little story, but I also wrote in there that Umi loves you always, and Umi is mother for Arabic. So
Mm,
that is where that came from.
mm, mm. So
And
talk to, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I try to hopefully, whenever I draw something, whatever the feeling is that I'm receiving, I'm hoping that transmit to the people that are looking at it. So in that is also love, caring, the the attention to the details, but also because they're my sons, I was able to capture. I believe I was able to capture whatever they were feeling.
Mm. So one thing that's interesting that just came to mind, I use art in my lessons when I'm working with young people. And in a lesson that I was doing about art, using your pieces with some middle schoolers, and I presented this piece to them, and I asked them to describe that piece in one word. And some
Hmm.
of them, a few of them said love, but it absolutely broke my heart. And some of them said struggle, hard, because the young man is reading. And that's something that a lot of children struggle with. And
Right.
so what it did was it was able to I was able to gather information about how these young people were feeling about reading So as I'm going through, and we're going through our reading lessons to be able to know that they need this extra encouragement to know that it's not hard. Like you can do anything. You can do anything you put your mind to. But a lot of them
Mhm.
felt deflated in their reading skills. And so, like I said, it's one of my favorite pieces. And for that, I was not expecting for that to be a reaction from the young people, but it was. Can you talk a little bit about motherhood? How many children do you have? Boys, girls, and what do you think your artistic freedom has contributed to parenting?
Wow. Well, I'm a mother of five. I have four sons and one daughter. My daughter is the second in line, and then these are the three younger sons, and I have one older son. Um, I, you know, I think by me being an artist and a mother, I was able to kind of think outside the box with them.
Mm,
Hopefully,
mm,
and sometimes, and it's funny that you was talking about the reading part, and I know that you're an author. Well, what I do when I hear words is visually put it into a picture form.
mm-hmm,
So, as a mother with my children, I do believe that they were able to experience a type of freedom with nature,
mm,
a freedom with exploring with different type of materials.
mm-hmm,
Um, I have a daughter that just and a son. They love to cook. I have a son that works in nature, and I also have a daughter that's she's a baker.
mm,
So and she's very crafty in that area. And I have a son that's an artist also. My youngest son is an artist, and I also have a son that's he's a he helps with recording music and he does his own music. And then I have another son that's just able to vocally and visually, the caring part of him.
mm,
So what I actually, as a mother, what I prayed for when I had these five was like um, a wildflower garden of children. And
mm,
that's exactly what I got.
mm,
None of them are alike, but all of them have that that love and that creativity in them,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
which is, yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I influence them in that and also their father, well, especially the youngest ones, their father was a musician, so that I'm pretty sure that influenced them. And also my older children, because he was involved in their lives too. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's one of my favorite quotes right now, and it says, "Art is the accomplice of love."
Mm,
And so love and creativity, they go hand in hand. Like there's no way to separate the two. And so I love that, and you're able to see it. I'm able to see it in like many facets. And so to hear it from a motherhood, to her children, that brings a whole nother dimension to this idea that love, that art is the accomplice of love. And so earlier you mentioned that that words, that words that you interpret words visually, right?
right.
And so one of the things that we've actually worked on together was this piece. It is like I have a million favorites. There's no way for me to like choose, but this piece is the result of me looking to get cover art for my book. I'm working on a memoir, and I remember one day I was telling you, I had asked you about possibly doing the cover art, and I started explaining my story to you. And
Right.
before I could, blink an eye good, this piece was in my hand and so perfect and so outside of anything that I really could have imagined. So can you talk a little bit about this piece and how it came to be conceptually from your point of view? based on the information I gave you.
Now I don't see the piece right now. I still three this the
Let's see.
three.
You still see the three boys?
I still see, yeah, my son. So, and as you're trying to find that piece, I remember when one of my granddaughters were born. You know how babies are born with their hands all balled up?
Yeah.
I got her home, and the first day I got her home, I was like, I opened up them hands and I made a hand print. I'm like, you're going to do some art. So it's just, something that I just love to see children for them to express themselves in
Yeah.
art. It's so unique. When you
Can you
put your
see it
mark
now?
down on that paper, it is so unique to who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
And you
see it
don't,
now?
I don't see it now either. No.
So it's the one in the purple where there's a young lady with an afro, dark skin, and she has on purple. Um, and so it's that piece that you created. And I'm sorry that you can't see it. I'm not sure why you can see the other one, but because
No, I can't see that one. And I can't, you would have to kind of refresh my mind on your vision with that also. But I
so
know.
the title of my book is Survivor Song, and it's basically a coming of age book story about a young woman who endures a lot of trials and comes through triumphant, but through this lens of music and how music has always been a constant, just a constant in my life. Rather, it's from singing and my both of my parents being singers to to me continuing to sing and now doing some songwriting. And so it was that was basically what I gave you, and you turned out an amazing piece. And you still can't see it. You still see the boys.
I cannot see it unless
What do you
it's,
see?
I just see the boys. I don't know if I need to
Let's
switch to all. It's a little link on the top that says see all photos. I don't know if I need to.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, I'm clicking on that. Oh no, it just changed us. But you have some pieces in the back of you also.
I do, and so we can talk about those. So the pieces that are behind me. Let's see. I have this young lady here, and I also have the hands. Can you talk a little bit about the basket weaving one?
The basket weavers, of course, from Charleston, South Carolina, you have a lot of the basket weavers, and they really don't want you to take, and I'm not sure if that changed, but they don't like you taking photos of them.
Mm,
Now, I did not take a photo. I think I did see a picture. A lot of times I'll take a picture and I'll reinterpret it the way I would like, I see it in my mind.
okay.
So, hands are important to me.
Mm,
We create so much with our hands. So, of course, if you look at the picture that's behind you, you would think that's a elderly woman, has a lot of experience and very skilled, and she knows what she's doing, and then no telling what type of history she has within herself.
mm-hmm.
So that is a pencil work. Like I said, pencil is one of my first loves. So that is a pencil work, which takes a lot of time, but just like weaving a basket takes a lot of time,
True.
So that's a lot of history that not only showing the art, the hands, and the patience of weaving the basket, and it's also showing that whatever we do, it may take time, but the outcome is beautiful.
Right.
Most of the time, the outcome is beautiful. We may not see it all at one time, like weaving a basket, you're not going to see it all at once. And not only that, the sweetgrass. I mean, you can go through a whole lot of history with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that I think was very sacred. I think that's very sacred.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and talk about the history, of those grass baskets and how we the sweet grass baskets and how that art form like literally followed us here. Like it's always been in our hands. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
and for it to still be a living art is something absolutely spectacular. And something that I believe that the people, the Gullah people are doing their best to hold on to and cling to, so that those, that art doesn't get lost, in the shuffle of quote unquote, this idea of modernization, and
Right.
so that's something major. Can you talk? Let me see if I can get a closer picture here. Can you talk to us a little bit about this piece here?
Okay, well, this is a creative piece of course, this one came from my imagination,
Mm,
and I just love the dark skinned woman and the red lips, and then of
mm,
course the circular, just playing with the circular motion of the hair, and I think, that was just playing with the colors. It's a painted piece, acrylic
hmm.
paint piece, and this just came from my imagination.
Do you name your pieces? Do they have names?
Some of them have names, not all of them. And I think the reason behind that is I kind of want people that's viewing my art to, and some of them do have names, but there's some that, like that piece behind you with the lady, is like, what do you see? What do you see? So whatever you see is what you name it.
Right.
So it's unnamed. Some pieces like that.
Okay. So what inspires you? What inspires you to, like, let's say that you are kind of out and about and you catch something catches your eye, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this piece. What inspires you? What brings that thing on the inside that says that it must come out somehow, some way?
Yeah. And that's funny you would say that because I'm driving a lot of times and I just want to stop and
Mm,
take pictures wherever
mm,
I go.
mm.
Sometimes it's just people and their most natural state every day, an everyday situation that just kind of catches your eye and it's like, wow, that's a picture. It's life, but it's also like I could just see it. If I could just stop and do it right away. And oftentimes it's nature. You know, I love nature, and although I don't draw a lot of nature pieces, I have a lot of my. You see a lot of the people that I have in surrounded in some type of nature or a loving setting. So what I wish to convey when I do my art is I really want to be able to touch the spirit of somebody. You know, I wanted to relate to who's ever looking at it. You know,
So, do you have any artists who you're influenced by?
wow, that's a good question because I can't really say any names right now. I know there's plenty of artists. I actually have a Jonathan Green piece behind me. I love his art, and there are. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of artists that I am influenced by right now. I cannot name them, but yeah.
And we talked a little bit about how creativity kind of spans different expressions. Like you were talking about how your kids and how they, express themselves creatively, very differently, from cooking
Hmm.
to baking and music and that kind of thing. How are you influenced as a visual artist by, let's say, music or food, or like you said, nature and landscape, or how does those other those other forms of creativity help inform your work?
Well, I guess it all just kind of, other than no other way I could say it, it just kind of seeps into my soul. It just seeps into my being, and um, then I interpret it however it comes in. Um, and when I'm creating a piece, I hardly ever put music on, but that would be interesting to do. Like, because it's almost like a meditative state when I'm working on a piece, kind of zone out, and it keeps me in the here and now, and I love that. I love this. It's one thing that really keeps me focused on what I'm doing, and that's very seldom that I get a chance to do that.
That's interesting that you don't listen to music. And I guess me as as a singer, like I absolutely need it. Like in whatever I'm doing, whether if I'm reading, there's some sort of like, jazz, something instrumental in the background. If I'm writing, there's something instrumental in the background. Like that's what feeds me.
Yeah,
And so to hear that that when as you're expressing yourself, then it's absolute silence. So I think it would be interesting for me to try to silence and then for
and
you
I
to
trust
try,
you.
try instrumentals or whatever music you decide and see
Yeah.
how it affects, how things come out. That would be really interesting.
That would be really cool.
Okay.
I did a couple of workshops where I had blindfold painting,
Mm,
and there was one particular in Atlanta where there was a live band, and the people that were participating in it, they painted with the music,
mhm, mhm.
and that was very interesting. And also, that some of them said it was very freeing. I also did it here in Columbia one time. And the different type of music, I had some African drum beats here, and then I had some soft music. And what I found out through that is either I would stay with either one type of music or the other, because when you go from one to the other, kind of mess with the people's psyche or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Music really, I never tried it myself, but music, I'm pretty sure would take it to a whole nother direction, a level for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I've done some pieces on some of the social issues that's going on today, like George Floyd and
Mhm.
Trayvon Martin. I would hear something, and then I would kind of interpret it how I would visualize it in my mind, and put it down that way also.
Yeah. Well, and that's the perfect segue into this clip. You have a piece that you've done based on the words of rapper Killer Mike during the Atlanta riots as a result of the George Floyd, and I call it assassination.
Yes.
And so let's take a look at that clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Oh, there's a lady.
You see the lady?
I see the lady.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at.
We don't want to see
Killer Mike.
targets burnt. We want to see the system that sets up for systemic racism burnt to the ground. And as I sit here
I'm gonna actually back it up a little bit.
and we watch it, really,
Yeah.
tired of seeing black men die. He casually put his knee on a human being's neck for 9 minutes as he died like a zebra in the clutch of a lion's jaw. And we watch it like murder porn over and over again. So that's why children are burned to the ground. They don't know what else to do. And it is the responsibility of us to make this better right now.
So that's the clip that I actually wanted to show, um, and to also show this piece. Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about what that clip meant for you, or what that press conference, in his words, meant for you, and
Yeah.
how it comes out to the piece that we're looking at right now.
Yes. Okay. First of all, that press conference was very not only emotional, but it was heartfelt. For so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard the word, when I heard him say that he had casually put his knee on this human being, and he died like a zebra in the clutches of a lion's jaw. I mean, that just like hit me, and I said, man, I see it. I see it. Because first of all, you think about the strength of a lion. You think about the strength and the power that police officers have and the responsibility. And you think about another animal, another human being. You know, I'm saying animal, referring to the zebra, but another human being, you know, that is pleading for their life. And to think that George Floyd actually stopped breathing 2 minutes, almost 3 minutes before, and before the 9 minutes or the 7 or 8 minutes was up. Um, it's just horrible, you know. And so the vision came to my mind, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it came to my mind. I didn't. I don't know what else to say. It just did, you know. And I hope that when anyone sees this, I really want to Killer Mike to get it in his hands, but because the words touched me so deeply, you know, I want him to know how deep they touched me, and maybe many others. But I saw it, and this is what I gave back to what I heard. This is my response. So.
Yeah, it's a powerful piece. The look in the lion's eyes, it's almost haunting.
Mm-hmm.
The look in his eyes is almost haunting. It's almost like I'm doing what I have to do to
Mm-hmm.
survive. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing, and not to excuse any behavior, but the lion almost looks like I don't want to be doing this. You know what I mean? Like that's what he looks like. He looks like this is not what, but this is what I know I have to do.
Mm.
That's just what kind of stood out to me just now, after looking at it again. How long did it take you to finish this piece?
Well, it took me a couple of days. I work on, and it's a pencil. It's from pencil.
Really?
Yeah, and I find, you know, pencil has a tendency to break, and you got to resharpen. And it probably is faster to do painting, but you know, I get more out of pencil sometimes. So it took me maybe 3, 4 days, you know, and a couple hours at a time. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know with the zebra. I started to put a tear coming down his eyes.
Mm,
You know,
mm. Wow.
because I think when you know you're gonna die, I'm not sure what it is, how you feel when you die, but what I get is just a glaze out
Yeah.
into whatever, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that piece was
Wow.
very. Mm.
Well, and one of the things that Killer Mike said, following the analogy of the lion and the zebra, was that, you know, the kids are doing what they're doing because they don't know what else to do, right? And
Mm.
so right now in Chicago, there's major chaos and commotion happening. There was a police involved shooting, I think last week. And since then, there's been looting and that kind of thing. And so right now in this nation, and not just in Chicago, you know, that this is still very much so widespread, you know, uprising across the nation,
Mm.
um, particularly with young people. And so my question is, what do you think? Um, how do you think having access to consistent access to a creative outlet would do to um, to help young people express themselves, and even if it's anger, even if it's the furor of what's going on, to be able to tap into themselves creatively to make something happen that way? How important do you think that is, and do you think that it might make a difference?
I think it's very important, and yes, I do think it'll make a difference. I do. You know, because there's no way in the world you can put a pencil, pen, paint, I don't know, whatever it is, into a child's hands that's feeling something, and they're not going to express it outward that way. I think it's very important, and it's very much needed.
Yeah.
is very much needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's very important. And I really wish that would happen more often. I know I have a nephew of mine, and he has an organization called Hey, helping empower youth in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And they're I sent you a picture of the Water Boys, I think, and the Atlanta Water Boys, and they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to work with them on that, help encourage them and empower them in different areas, and I think we all need to step up in certain areas and to do that. But I think it would, even as myself as a child,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was a way for me to escape some things that I had to endure. I had a father and a mom. I had I had that home that had that, but also with that comes a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So as a child, that was one way that I was able to express myself. That was an outlet for me also.
Right.
I'm
Right.
sure with the youth today that would help them so much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I can echo that sentiment. Like, I started singing when I was about 4. And it was just something that I kind of did. But by high school, my choir room at high school was my sanctuary. Like, it was kind of where I went to get peace. Amtul, you still with me? So through the joys of technology, we have somehow lost Amtul Badi. But I'm going to wrap the session up by thanking her and thanking you for watching. Um, this is an ongoing, as long as there is someone to watch and someone who enjoys these conversations with some of my favorite artists, that's all I'm really doing, is having a conversation with my favorite artists. I am your host, Connie Johnson, and this is Fine Art Friday. Again, I want to thank my guest, Amtul Badi. I will put her information in the description of this video. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you for the next episode.